Uh-oh. Sounds
And
good.
I
Let
guarantee you,
me
it's
grab
going to
my
be like,
notebook right quick.
oh, where's the live link? Okay, who's got questions? Who needs help?
Um,
There's only
I
two of you
know.
guys on here, so use
Oh,
your.
I know. I have some questions. What did I do with my pen?
Yeah, I mean, she's fine to go ahead. I'm still gathering my questions, but I know what I want to talk about, but I'm not, it's okay.
All right, do your thing.
Okay. So, my question. Oh, goodness. Okay, my question is, so I have been sending offers out on Redfin,
Mhm.
but the way that that system is set up, I don't think that they're receiving like the messages properly. So, I what I did do and said that I was going to do was that
Did you do
I
this?
do have prop. Yes, I saw that, and where it says start the offer,
Mm-hmm.
it that pops up,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a little box that pops up, and then I put copy and paste and then send. But like I don't get like a email notification or anything stating that I sent it, but I also attach my other information. So today I said, well, I'm gonna try Zillow. I went on Zillow, did the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, and I got a response like right away, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
the listed name that was on there from the agent was somebody named JoJo. And but when it went through whatever system that they have, somebody else ended up calling me back.
Right.
A whole new different name on there. So I'm talking to the lady. She was being very rude, and I kind of stumbled on, what to ask. I told her I was like, I'm a wholesaler. I told her my name,
Mm-hmm.
and how this is how I position. I say, hello, my name is Shamika Hanchin. I'm with Move Wild Properties. I already have my company incorporated and everything, legit on there. And I went on to tell her that I was calling in reference to the property that was listed. And so the property that's on the list, and when I was asking her questions about, the pricing, she's like, whatever price it is. And I was asking her about, the seller, because apparently she didn't receive the information that I actually sent to her. So I was trying to have a con. She just kept like shutting me down, and I was just like, well, you know what? Let me just call the agent that's actually listed on here, because she just like really had a bad attitude. So my question, I went back to one of your videos and I started saying, let me see how to fill out this form. Um, the deal thing, the deal, what you call it?
Deal sniper.
Yeah, not the deal sniper, the master
Oh,
deal
the deal
machine.
machine. Okay.
Yeah. So I went and ran a couple of things on here, because on PropWire, the property actually comes up. It's the same on Zillow for 162,000. But then
Mm-hmm.
right on the side in PropWire, it has estimated property value of 72,750. When I strolled down on PropWire, I saw where the property does have a mortgage of $62,940, but it's on the market for 162. And so
Mm-hmm.
while I was in the deal machine trying to plug in these numbers here, using it, and I did all the examples so that I could see what all of them look like. The seller finance, um, I I end up using on the seller finance. It looks like I used the 178 that the deal machine, the deal sniper, I'm sorry, was offering on the price based on what the system comes up with. And so when that came up, and then we click over to the seller finance other part of it, the numbers don't. I didn't know if the numbers were, look good on that, and I
Got
was like, not sure if that was a good deal to position, and what would that be like when I call JoJo and have this conversation. I want to kind of know what I'm talking about,
it. Mm-hmm.
based on what I'm reading on here, and to know which avenue would be a better avenue. So I went ahead and I also did it as a subject to. The subject to, based on what you were stating in there and looking at those numbers, although the entry fee is below the 10%, is showing 9.21%, the cash on cash return is showing a negative 51%. And then
Got
the cash flow is showing a negative 3,100. So I don't know if I did anything wrong on that.
it. Okay.
And then when I
And
did it as a hybrid,
mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, you can,
No, go for it.
I know I'm throwing
No, no, no.
a whole
But
bunch
my
at you.
memory is fantastic. You couldn't beat it if you tried. Go for it.
And when I did it as a hybrid on here, again, not sure if I keyed in everything right, but I didn't use the 178 that you guys was offering because I was kind of trying to mimic what you were showing in the videos. So I went in and did the purchase price on the balance on the mortgage using numbers, by plugging in that number and estimating. So I'm gonna do it like this just for the sake of it or whatever. And it also showed entry fees of 25%, but the cash on cash was a negative 81, and then the cash flow was a negative 13,000. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'm not keying in something right.
Gotcha. Okay. Nope, that makes
So
sense.
just
I know
understanding
exactly where you're coming from.
everything, and because I'm gonna start versus sending that message, because you guys have the number on that offer letter thing, I
Mhm.
think I will feel comfortable calling the agent directly, seeing what I needed to do, how can I get an offer over to you, and we can discuss that, and kind of go from there, and then hit the ball running versus sending that email. And because I'm comfortable with talking, because I've done that for so long, I'm comfortable with making a call, but my dialect, because I'm new to the real estate industry, I want to make sure that my dialect and the conversation that I'm having is on point as well.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So I'm going to help you. I'm going to correct a few things. So if you need
Okay.
me to like slow down or go back, that's fine.
Okay.
So regardless of what website you're on, Zillow, Realtor, Trulia, the MLS, doesn't matter. Don't ever use this. And the reason why
Oh,
you
let
don't
me
use
get
this,
back to you. Hold on. Let me go
okay,
back to you because I clicked out because I was looking at something else. Where are you? Oh, here it is. The meets. Okay. Don't ever look at what?
this here. Don't use this.
Okay.
And the reason why is because this, regardless of what website you go to, this is going to connect you with an agent that works for Redfin or an agent that
Okay.
works for Zillow and they're going to try and represent you as the buyer. The reason why
Mm-hmm.
that agent was being so rude to you is because they had no idea what you were talking about, because they didn't know. They were trying to get you to sign with them so that they could represent you as the buyer for a transaction. They had no idea what property you're looking at. So
Gotcha.
anytime you need to know who you're dealing with, and you're on the right track with JoJo, all you got to do is use this person here. And if you can't find their phone number or email address here on the actual listing, take the name and the name of the company and just Google it. And
Okay.
usually within the first 5, you'll find, there's the phone number there. And then let's see if they put their email address. Did you put your email address? You did not. But you can always give them a call and say, hey, I'm trying to, give you an offer on Enclave Square.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me your email address? And then send it that way.
Got,
So that's the first thing.
Hey, Sean, go back
gotcha.
to
Thank
that
you.
because I noticed that it says email me. It looked like a hyperlink. Just click email me and see if it comes up.
Yeah, but it's going to pop this up.
Oh,
Yeah, you don't want to do that. You want
Yeah.
the actual email address.
yep.
And then there's something that you can do. You can actually go to a website and just type like this here. You can hit this button, search tab, and you
Mm-hmm.
can at anything. One of the people, because I'm old, so one of the guys taught me this a couple of weeks ago, where if I go here on this one and then just hit that and then type in at like that, and then we'll see if it'll give it to me. I think I did it right. Anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is, that's how you do. You want to use the listing agent. You don't want to use the that request tour and all that. That takes
Okay.
you to a buyer's agent, not the listing
Gotcha.
agent. Now, as far as the calculator is concerned, you were on the right track. It looked like you were getting a couple of things mismatched. And I think the reason for that is, and so you're not alone, is that Deal Sniper. Let me actually do one. First of all, before I jump into this, let me take a look at something. My answer right now is about to be very long-winded. Does anyone have a short answer question that they need right away? Okay. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm actually going to put one through the entire system from start to finish, and I'll do it across the board so you can kind of get an idea of what that's like. So if I take this one, I'll use this one for example. Can I have the whole thing? Oh, not that whole thing. Come on now. There we go. You got it. So let's go ahead and I'm gonna flip out. There we go. All right, cool. Okay, so once this goes in, now you have PropWire, you said, or PropStream. So you can
Yeah,
look.
PropWire, they're free thing,
So
but
you
I
can
pay to
look
do skip
up.
tracing.
Okay, gotcha. So you can look up if it has a mortgage if you want to. But for people who don't do that or don't have access to that, I would just hit no. And the reason why I think you got a little confused is because Deal Sniper, this system here, can only underwrite seller financing deals and subject twos. And it sounds like your deal with them having it listed for 160,000, but they have a $62,000 and some change mortgage, that's 100% a hybrid. So that makes sense why the rest of them didn't work, because that's a hybrid deal. So there's certain numbers you have to pull from Deal Sniper to put into the deal machine calculator in order to determine if the deal is going to work or not. And those numbers are going to change depending on what type of deal. So the most three common is subject to, hybrid, and seller finance. So I'm going to run this one across all three of those, but you'll notice there's going to be different things that I'm going to do to a couple of them because it changes. Before I do that, let me ask you this. Do you know the difference between a subject to, a seller finance, and a hybrid?
I was going over it today with you, and I remember the other day you told me that a hybrid means that there's say there's a mortgage on it and it's way lower, and then they're going in and offering some, asking prices a lot higher than what the mortgage is, I believe it is. Then it could be a
Perfect.
hybrid, and I think you said the subject to is, I'm assuming everything is just like the way it is, like the asking price is not out of range or anything like that.
Correct. And then a seller finance means there's no mortgage at all. Okay, good. So yeah, you're ahead of the curve. So let's look at this one. So right now, when you click no, this property does not have a mortgage. And honestly, unless you have one of those services, you don't know. So you should always be clicking no, unless your practice is to look it up first. So if you click no, then this is a seller finance offer. This is Deal Sniper assuming that there is no mortgage. So if I wanted to see if these numbers work, obviously I'd want to clean them up. But if I wanted to see if these numbers in particular work, then I'm going to put them into the seller financing section only. Now, for your situation, if it were a subject to, because remember, Deal Sniper can only underwrite subject twos and seller finance, then you would click yes, it has a mortgage, and then you'd put in the mortgage balance. That's not right. Right? You put in the mortgage balance, and then you put in the mortgage payment. So, oh, they did change it. Oh, good. Well, I don't know if that works yet or not. So I'm just going to click subject to. We'll check. So then you click subject to. So this is when they do not have or do not want to capture their equity. So now the offer that we're giving them is just a little bit more than their mortgage, and the little bit more is the down payment. So they're going to get their down payment. They're going to walk away. Our investor will take over their mortgage payments. That's a subject to. Now let's go back. Let's see if you fixed this. Come on, bro. Did you do it? No, you didn't. Okay. Yeah, you didn't fix it yet. All right. So that's not fixed yet. So again, it won't underwrite hybrids. So we have to do that manually. So in your situation, I'm going to hit no, even though I know it has a mortgage. I'm going to hit no because I'm not underwriting it here, but I do need to know if there's an HOA. I need to know the taxes. I need to know the insurance. I need to know the rent, and I need to have an idea of what the down payment's going to be. Now, the only thing that I'm not going to be paying attention to is what the monthly payment is, because again, this monthly payment is assuming it's a seller financing deal. It's not a seller financing deal. So that means that our investor can't give them $1,100 and pay whatever their mortgage is. So now we're going to take whatever their mortgage is, and then whatever's left over, that's what we can pay them. And that's where this comes in at. So we're going to underwrite this one as a hybrid right now. Well, actually, we're going to underwrite your deal as a hybrid right now.
Okay.
Do you have what the property will rent for?
It doesn't unless I go in and just change the on the Deal Sniper.
Yeah.
With everything just being the same as it is, yes. So the monthly rent is showing $638. That's what I put because it had changed and I rounded it off.
There you go. Okay. So what is they're selling it for how much? 160,000 or 162,000?
Oh no, the rent. You have to put a monthly payment or the rent payment.
The rent.
I'm sorry, the rent payment is actually $1,485.
Okay, so $1,500. What are they? What is the house listed for right now?
The house is listed for 162,000.
Okay. And what is the exact mortgage? Is it 62?
No, it just says listing price 162. Then it says estimated property value
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
shown.
You said because you looked it up on
Oh, so
PropWire. What's the mortgage?
PropWire says estimated mortgage balance
Mhm.
is 62,940.
Okay. Oop, yep. And then what is the monthly payment?
At on there where it says open mortgage, now there's a bunch of stuff on PropWire. It says loan amount, estimated payment.
There
This
you go.
has
That's what
got
I
to
mean.
be incorrectly, but it's showing $8,379.
As the estimated payment?
Yes, that's why I said that's wrong, and then they're showing an interest rate at 6.85.
Okay, so then it's $830. Okay. Let's see. Then their interest rate is how much you said? 6.5?
It says 6.85.
Okay. And then what now go back to Deal Sniper. So we're gonna go
Okay.
back to Deal Sniper here. What does it say we should be giving them as a down payment?
12,000.
$12,000. All right. So if we put in $12,000.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So now, and for those of you who don't understand what I'm doing, I'm underwriting a hybrid deal, and I'm going to show you guys how to figure out what the seller financing amount is, because that confuses a lot of people. So what you want to do is you want to take the price that they're asking for. You're going to subtract the mortgage balance, which I'm just going to do at 63,000, and then you're going to subtract the down payment, which in this case is $12,000. So whatever's left over is the seller financed amount, or how much equity they have that they're trying to capture. In this case, it'll be $87,000. And then you said it'll rent for $1,500, $1,498, $89, something like that. So here's what the deal looks like. And if you ever want to check to see if you did it right, you add up the down payment or cash to seller, plus the seller finance, plus the mortgage balance, which in this case I just did 63,000 to round it up because it's close enough. And you should get the purchase price. Now, I have a feeling that this monthly payment isn't including the taxes and insurance. We'll get to that in a second. So now we're going to go over to the corresponding tab. We just did a hybrid deal, so we're going to go to the hybrid tab. We're going to put in anything that's blue is information that you need to put in. Okay. And then I'll just put that at 0 for now. All right. So based off of this, and I don't know if you've seen the video on my YouTube channel or not, but the SOPs for SOP is standard operating procedure. For creative deals is cash on cash return needs to be between 10 and 12% minimum. And when I say minimum, that's like bottom of the barrel. It's not a very attractive deal for an investor. And it needs to also cash flow at least $300 a month. Now for this deal, we have our investor is going to be paying $172,000 purchase price. They're going to be putting down $22,000 plus $3,000 for their closing costs, so a total of $25,000. Your entry fee percentage is not bad. It's not bad at all. But your cash on cash return is not good. And the reason why I say that, well, one, it's already negative. It's negative $2,700 a month. But that's not even including paying the seller their monthly payment to start paying down that equity. So even if we gave the seller $100 a month, then whatever investor bought this would be losing $3,900 a year.
Right. So automatically, I would say this is not a good deal.
This is not a good deal.
And for good practices, it's good to go through all of these numbers first before sending out an offer.
Well, that's the other thing too. So if you go back to Deal Sniper, now it's currently going because we're adding some stuff. I know you guys have noticed. So we're adding some stuff, and some formulas will mess up other formulas. So we're figuring out. For the most part, we've got it dialed. But if you put this in and then go to section 8, it says right here that it's a negative deal and it's got a negative cash on cash return. And if we go to long-term rental, you'll see that this one's also negative. Mm-hmm. So before you send out the offer, do you have to use the deal machine calculator? Not really, because chances are if it doesn't work as a section 8 or a long-term rental, it's probably not going to work regardless. I mean, unless you're short-term rental market, like if it's in Florida, right on the beach, and it's
Mm-hmm.
phenomenal as a short-term rental, then you can go to AirDNA and put the address in. So for example, I'll do this one. Why not? So if I go to AirDNA, you guys should definitely sign up for an AirDNA account. It's free. For what we need it for, you don't need to pay monthly. You guys know how I do it. Don't pay money if you don't have to. So you wait for it to pop up. That doesn't look right. There it is. Square West. And this one is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Good. Come up, 6 guests, automatically done. This is the only number you're looking for. Projected revenue. Now, the only thing you have to keep in mind is that that's a yearly number. So you got to divide it by 12. So in this case, would be $2,500 a month, give or take. So now I'm going to go back over to the deal machine calculator, and I'm going to go back to this deal, and I'm going to put in $2,500 a month. Then I'm going to click back on hybrid. Unfortunately, the deal still doesn't work, but it's better. Actually, no, it's not. It's a lot worse.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you know what? Now that, and I'm, oh, whoa. What did you do? That's not right. Nobody was going to correct me? You guys are just going to let me keep talking on like I'm stupid. I put the wrong payment in here. I put what I think the payment is with taxes and insurance. Oh, yeah. Well, okay, so now we got to figure out taxes and insurance. So here's what I need you to do. Are you in Deal Sniper right now?
I am in Deal Sniper.
Are you on the address for the property we're talking about?
Yes, I am.
Can you tell me what the taxes and the insurance are?
Yes. So the
Okay.
taxes are showing
Mhm.
$776.14. We take that out and just put just 776.
Okay. So that's what, $64 a month. Okay. And then what is the insurance?
And then the insurance is $680.
Okay. So that's what, $55 a month, 56. So that's 111. Okay. Actually, your deal might work. So 111 would be 943. You know what? Just to be on the safe side. Why not? Okay. Damn, your deal still doesn't work. It's much better, but it's not cash flowing enough, and your cash on cash return isn't high enough. And just so we're all on the same page on
Why did that purchase price show 172? The purchase price, like, isn't it on Zillow and that is 162,000?
Correct.
But
Yeah.
they're okay.
So when you guys are looking at the inputs page as a whole, this is what the numbers look like for the seller.
Okay.
When you guys click on these tabs down here, like this one, this all is what it looks like for the buyer.
For the buy.
So the reason why this says 172 is because our assignment fee is $10,000.
Gotcha.
For the exact same reason why your cash to seller is $12,000. But if we go here, the entry fee is 22 because that extra 10 grand is for you.
Gotcha.
That's your fee. So unfortunately, I mean, even if you did 950, yeah, it's not enough cash flow. Yeah, the deal doesn't, unfortunately, this deal doesn't work.
Gotcha. And the cash flow need to be at least over 3 or better. I would say 4,000.
Yeah, bottom of the, like the minimum is 3,600 a year or $300 a month.
36. Okay. Okay.
And then if you guys do look over here, your optimal range is max. You don't have to worry about that. The highest, the better. Just, it's very rare to come across deals that have a 30 or 50% cash on cash return. But optimal range for a long term is 10 to 12% minimum, and for a short term is 12 to 15% minimum.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then your entry fee percentage, like I said, it's pretty decent. Ideally, we want to keep it as close to 10. The lower, the better. Once you 15 is about average. And then once you start climbing above 16, 17, 18, that's high. Like your cash on cash return needs to be like 20.
Okay.
If ideally your cash on cash return should always be higher than your entry fee percentage. If you can swing that, that's a good deal. That's actually a really good deal.
Gotcha. Okay.
So
Keep that noted.
are we looking for properties that have sellers with high equity or low equity?
It depends on your exit strategy. If they have high equity, then you can do a hybrid or a seller finance if they don't have a mortgage. If they have low equity, then if they have the right motivation, that's a slam dunk for a subject to.
Yeah, and this property here only have 13% equity based on prop wire.
The only thing, well, no, that wouldn't do anything because it doesn't change the monthly payment. I would say if you can, well, he's trying to capture $60,000 worth of equity. The most you could be able to give him is probably 10. So even closing this guy on a subject to would be a stretch. And even if you did, it wouldn't change the monthly payments. It would help the cash on cash return, but it definitely wouldn't help the cash flow. So your deal still wouldn't sell.
Wouldn't work. Gotcha.
The 162, is that the listing price, or is that the price that she would offer?
That's the listing price.
Okay. So the 172, it's not our offer. Is that the offer?
No, our
That's the
offer
offer
is
to the buyer.
there you go. That's the offer to the buyer. So when you guys put this under
Okay.
contract, it's adding your $10,000 assignment fee to the entry fee and the purchase price.
Oh, I see. Okay, because numbers got to make sense for the end buyer. Okay.
Yeah, and then I get this question a lot, and I want to make sure that I'm very clear about this. Whatever money you guys want to make on your assignment fee, you do not include that in your offer to the seller. So
Right.
if you guys are trying to make a $10,000 assignment fee, you would not tell the seller we'll give you 22 down. No, we'll give you 12 down because you're going to sell it for 22 down. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And we want the end buyer to bring, like, what percentage down is the ballpark, like 20% down, so that we can get our assignment fee covered?
Well, 20% entry fee would be a little high
Right.
for our deal. So you got to remember, when an investor goes to, the reason why we use wholesalers is because we get a deal. So when you're dealing with an investor, what do they have to do if you didn't exist? They would go to a bank, they get their credit run and all this other shit. You have to give bank statements and tax returns, check stubs or whatever. And then they have a high interest rate, and then they're going to put 20% down minimum because it's an investment property. That's on top of their closing costs. So we want to keep it as low as possible so we can give them a deal. If we can get this at 15% entry fee, including closing costs, that's like 7-8% less than what they would normally pay if they didn't go through us. All we got to do is make sure that this part is good. If this part is good and we get this part good, that's a done deal. That's sold.
So we're trying to sell this to end buyers that are bringing their own capital to the table, but it's a lower cost. It's a lower entry fee than if they were to go traditional bank route.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, we want to make sure that they're getting a deal.
Okay.
Okay, does anyone have any questions over what I just went over? I'm on here until you guys don't need me anymore, until you jump off the couch.
Can you go over the Section 8 versus the long-term rental, and it kind of explain the breakdown of that, because we're looking at that as the end buyer to make the numbers make sense for the end buyer, correct?
Yes, all of this is what it's going to look like for the end buyer. This is the offer to the seller. So if you're looking at Section 8, and for those of you that don't know, the easiest way to explain Section 8 is the city or the government pays the rent or most of the rent for your tenant for you. So if you have a Section 8 property, that's basically guaranteed rent. Here's the downside of that. Most properties that are Section 8 are in ghetto areas. They're in real rough areas. It is what it is. So while there's a huge argument, Section 8, and don't get me wrong, Section 8 is great. It's guaranteed rent. What we're finding is that a lot of the new school buyers, old school buyers don't care because they've already been in it. But the new school buyers are willing to pay a little bit more for a nicer property, a property that they don't have to put $15,000-$20,000 into it every time someone's evicted because they didn't take care of it because it's in a shitty area.
So the purchase breakdown, it has the after repair value. Most of this type of wholesaling is really targeting properties that don't really require a lot of repair.
Ideally, you do want to target properties where it's close to turnkey. Now, when I say turnkey, I don't mean flipped. The kitchen could be from the 1940s. As long as it's functional, that's okay. But that's only when you're talking about a buy and hold situation. When you're talking about a flip, then yeah, obviously it matters because the investor is going to rip that kitchen out. But for a buy and hold, whoever owns that, they understand that turning over a property that's going to have tenants isn't the same as turning over a property that you intend to sell for profit. Because whatever you put in there, the floors, the walls, the fixtures, the kitchen, the bathroom, the toilets, the tub, it's all going to get wrecked. It's all going to get wrecked. So for someone who's doing a buy and hold, they're not going to put all, if they're a good landlord, they're going to make the property nice and somewhat modern and well kept and all that stuff. But they're not going to be putting in LVP floor, granite countertops, these awesome, the 3-drawer fridge. They're not going to do that because the idea is it's going to get wrecked anyway. Even if you have really, really good tenants who take care of it, they're still going to be living in it. So when they move, which is going to happen, you're still going to have to change the carpets and the floors. You're still going to have to paint. You're still going to have to probably change the toilets and the fixtures and all that stuff. So you're not going to put top of the line shit in there to begin with anyway. So you got to keep that in mind. So no, the ARV doesn't particularly matter as much for a creative deal because they're not the investor that your target investor. You're not going to sell it. They're just going to keep it, and probably will it to their kids. So the ARV doesn't come into play, but you do want to pick properties that don't cost that much to get a tenant in there, because an investor is going to look at that as part of the entry fee.
So we're basically offering them above asking price, but we're also asking them for terms with no interest, right?
Yes and no. So if you look at this here, you'll see that the property is listed for $350. We're offering them $385. So where'd the other $35,000 come from? Well, we kind of figured out in the background of all this stuff, hey, typically we'll give, or an investor will give this much in interest on a monthly payment. We'll be okay with that. But instead of giving that to you on the monthly payment, we figure out what that is. In this case, it was $34,989. And we're giving it to you on the purchase price so that we don't get charged for it on the monthly, so that our cash flow is higher for the investor. It makes it more attractive. And the reason why the investor doesn't give a shit about paying over asking is because they're not going to sell it. They're not trying to flip it for a profit. It doesn't matter how much they get it for as long as it cash flows. Now, within reason, an investor's not going to pay $200,000 for a $100,000 property. But paying $35,000 over for 0% interest and less than 20% entry fee with a 15% cash on cash return, fuck yeah, they'll do that all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the idea. Oh, one other thing for anyone who's new, when you see this part here, term length, that's going to scare people. If you want, make sure you figure out what your deal range is for your balloon and then delete that. Actually, you guys can delete this whole line before you send it and just put balloon, colon, and then whatever your range is, put that range there.
Can you explain the balloon?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing.
The idea of the balloon or the balloon ranges?
Well, just the whole what it means to newbies.
Okay, so hold on, let me see who's talking.
Is that essentially they're gonna pay it off at the end of a certain shorter period?
There you go. That's exactly what it is. So Andrew, you own a car?
Yes.
Okay, so let's say I come to you and I say, hey man, I want to buy your car. I'll give you, you're asking me $5,000. I'll give you $10,000, but I'm gonna give you $2,000 now, and I'll give you $100 a month for the next 20 years. And you're like, I'll take the deal, but I don't want it in the next 20 years. You got to pay me off in 2 years. That's the balloon. The balloon is whatever you owe me by the time the balloon is due, you owe me all of that.
So how does that work for the investors? then?
So for the investor, and which is why we have balloon ranges depending on your purchase price, for the investor, investors don't like balloons. Now, it comes with the territory with on-market properties because every real estate agent's going to suggest a balloon, and they should. It's their house. Who the hell wants to wait 30 years, 26 years for their money? You know what I mean? So I get it. It's just inconvenient for us. So for the buyer, basically, they're going to be getting this property for a cheap entry fee, 15% entry fee, 0% interest, monthly payments for however long the balloon is. And then if they have the liquid cash, and I'm talking about the investor, if the investor has the liquid cash to pay off the balance, then they pay off the balance. They probably won't do that unless they're millionaires, but they'll pay off the balance. But most investors, they use OPM, which is other people's money, which means they're going to go to a bank. So essentially, they're going to refinance the property.
Cash out, refinance it after 6 or 7 years.
Exactly. But the reason they don't like that is because what happens when you refi? You now have an interest rate. You now have a higher monthly payment, which means you're probably cutting into your cash flow. Now, it doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes, if you can get the balloon long enough, you pay down the balance enough to where, like for this one here, let me go back to this page. So for this one here, if this purchase price was $180,000, right? And then we put like a 4 or 5 year balloon on this thing. What's the monthly payment on this? What do you guys have me at? $1,000 a month? I'm just going to do $1,000 a month. So $1,000 a month is $12,000 a year times 5 years for a 5 year balloon. That's 60 grand. So if we take 60 grand off of this, now the investor only owes them 93,000. Well, if they go get a mortgage for 93,000, I guarantee you that even if it's at a 6-7% interest rate, it's not going to be more than that. So in that situation, it would work out because they're paying down the balance enough and the balloon was long enough. But if we take it back to where it was and we apply that same principle to now they've paid off $60,000, they still owe like $325,000. So when they go get a mortgage with that amount at 6.5-7% interest rate, it's going to be substantially more than that, which is going to cut into their cash flow. That's why investors don't like balloons. So I'll give you guys a tip that I tell everybody. Stick to properties that are cheaper. A lot of the ones that we've been moving lately that people have been submitting to us, my disposition team, they've been sub $200,000 purchase prices. And here's why. Every real estate agent is going to ask for a balloon. They're going to do it. Do you know how discouraging it is to get a deal? It's like a $500,000 purchase price. You get through the terms, you negotiate everything, you hit me up. Yep, these numbers are good. And then the realtor says, we want a 5-year balloon. A 5-year balloon is probably not going to work on a $500,000 purchase price. So now you just kind of lost the deal. That's a gut punch. But if you would have gone to a $200,000 purchase price and done that exact same thing, a 5-year balloon is a no-brainer for a $200,000 purchase price. That's a done deal. So that's my piece of advice. Stick to properties that are less than, or that are 200,000 or less, 350,000 or less for sure.
So we would edit the template that it creates for us we would just delete the 26 years and then just go ahead and from the get-go put that it would have or would we leave it at 26 years and say with a 5-year balloon option?
Well, you can't. Well, for this one, a 5-year balloon option wouldn't work because that's too low. You guys should definitely take a look at the quick question guide that is in Discord, because if you scroll all the way over, here's your balloon ranges right here. So for this one, it was 385,000, right?
Oh, I see.
So that would be a minimum of 10 to 15-year balloon. But yes, your thinking is right.
The higher the purchase price,
the higher the balloon.
The more they have to mitigate their risk by drawing out the balloon longer.
Exactly. Okay. But if you're here at 150,000 or 200,000, you can do a 5-year, no problem. And negotiating a 5-year balloon with a real estate agent is pretty easy because most of them want between 1 and 5 years anyway. So that's my piece of advice. You guys.
So should we maybe, it's for negotiation purposes, should we go into something in that price range, offering a 10-year balloon, knowing that we have the wiggle room to go down to 5?
Oh yeah, you can definitely do that. And then as far as which properties you're looking for, when you go to Redfin, just set your price range to, 220,000, 225,000 or less.
Mm-hmm.
Here, we've had a lot of stuff listed where I live. I live in St. Louis. Let's do this. Let's see what it looks like. So if I go here,
And then also, like she was mentioning, was it Prop Stream or something, as far as finding out how much the mortgage balance was still on it. But to me, you kind of want to know that as well when you're targeting, because see, um, you know, as far as coming in with what you're offering down, I wouldn't take a deal if I already had like $100,000 in equity and they were just trying to offer me 20. Even though I could cash in 5 years on the balloon, it's just not worth it to me.
well, you got to remember something. You're targeting, or you should be targeting, properties that have already been on market for like 90 days. So the people that you're reaching out to, whether they've got
They might be
$100,000 or
about to
$200,000,
be foreclosed on or something, or having to move right away or something. Yeah.
yeah, their motivation is there to where it's one of those things where when you reach out to people that have had their property listed for 90 days and they just annihilate your offer, like, no, I absolutely don't want it. They've made one of two choices: to continue dealing with the house that's not going to sell, or take your offer. They chose to continue. So you're the one that's in the position of power, because
Right.
they have the motivation. They're
Yeah.
paying on a property. They're paying taxes. They're paying insurance. They're paying utilities. Sometimes they're paying mortgages. They're paying for people to watch it. They're paying all this shit for 90 days. And they want to sell it for whatever reason. Doesn't matter what their motivation is. They want to sell it or it wouldn't be on market. So that's why you target people that have been on market for a long time, because they've already felt the pain of not being able to sell their house. None of these houses I would ever put a creative offer on. It's been listed for 12 minutes. They haven't felt any pain. They're going to look at my offer, and unless they're already into it, they're going to be like, screw you. I'm going to sell this thing for $400. I'm going to walk away with $415,000 because in a week, my realtor said we'll have 20 offers. They need to feel that pain of, oh, we didn't
Right.
get any offers.
Thinking that they might have to get way less than asking price.
Yep. And then they're going to be dealing with wholesalers calling them, offering them cash, because a lot of wholesalers don't know how to do creative financing properly. So they're going to be getting a lot of lowball offers. And then here you come like a knight in armor. Hey, not only will I give you your asking price, I'll give you more than that. You just got to do it on terms. If we can do it on terms and my investor can cash flow, you can consider this house sold. Where do I send the paperwork? It's one of those. And if they don't want it, hey, so what? There's 1.6 million properties listed right now. On to the next.
The assignment fee, is that a general percentage that you shoot for, or is it just? Most of the examples people give is just 10,000.
Yeah, that's probably my fault, because across the board it's always 10,000. We'll take, as a wholesaler, you should take whatever you can get for a deal, but I want to know the numbers for the number that I want, and I'm not greedy. So I'll take 10 grand for a deal. That's fine. I'll take 7, I'll take 8, I'll take 5, I'll take 1. But I want a budget for 10 because that's the number I actually want. So yeah, it's always 10 grand. That's a nice round number. People are most wholesalers, I don't think 10 grand is out of the realm of normal. And for most investors, that's pretty much the number they have in their head anyway. Now, investors, just like us, it's just like a seller. They're always going to try and get the best deal that they can. So they're going to want to negotiate and all that. So I'll block a deal up for $10,000 assignment, and I'll push it out for $22,000. And then I'll let the investor talk me down to the number that they think that they won, which is either the number I wanted or more than, and we're all happy.
Okay, so you'll figure the deal out based upon $10,000 assignment, but when you're pitching it to your end buyer, you're starting at a higher number, obviously. So
Yeah, I want them to talk me down. Let them feel like, oh yeah, I'll take every one of Sean's deals. Every time I talk to him, I talk him down like $7,000. Cool.
do we and is this platform have the end buyer, the investor, cover the closing costs?
Always.
Okay.
Yeah, always. And that's wholesaling across the board. That's not Deal Sniper.
Okay.
Wholesaling across the board, you should not be paying the EMD, any of the closing costs. You shouldn't be paying anything.
Okay.
Andrew, you're in here twice, or do you have a twin brother?
No, that's me. It's just I can't see it on my phone, but I don't have a microphone on my computer, so I'm trying to be able to interact, but actually see what you were clicking on and stuff because it was hard on my phone to see.
Okay, so are you on your computer to see, or are you on your phone to see?
I'm on my computer to see and my phone to talk.
Because I was going to zoom in if you're on your phone.
No, I'm good now. I can
Okay.
see it fine. Yeah, I can see it fine.
All right, cool.
All right, Sean, one more question. This is Mercedes again.
What's up?
On the seller finance, because I'm looking at another deal. On the seller finances, what number go in that on the deal machine? Like where it says seller finance payment, what number goes there?
Are you talking about here?
The not on the input.
Oh, you're
Click
talking
on the seller finance tab.
Oh, yeah.
And then right under where it says seller finance, what number goes there?
This one, the monthly payment.
That monthly payment?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going to tell something else because I feel like I've got some newer people on here for this calculator. Okay, when you guys are using the calculator, if it's blue, that's what you type. If it's white like that, don't type shit. Don't type shit because it's attached to a formula. Here's why. And again, this video is on the YouTube. It's under Deal Sniper Quickies. You should watch that playlist. It's like 20 minutes long. So let's say you put this deal in, right? And then I'm gonna finish it real quick. So 350,000. We'll do. Let's say they said, fuck, what was the rent? 25. Okay, we'll say that Deal Sniper said to give them $700 a month, right? Okay, so here's our deal. Well, that's not gonna work. That's too low. We'll do 50. We'll do 5,000, and then we'll do 1,200. That's not enough. We'll do 7,800. Better. Okay. So this is what a typical deal from Deal Sniper will look like. You know, the cash on cash return, it's supposed to be real good. Why is that so low? Oh, well, I'm going to change that. Let's do something a little more realistic. 25,000. Okay, perfect. So let's say you put your deal in and the realtor calls you back and says, hey, you know, we're kind of interested, but here's the terms that we want. And forget about the rest of the shit that they're going to say. They're going to talk about a higher down payment. The thing that you need to worry about is higher monthly payment and higher interest rate. And here's how you figure it out. So once you put the deal in and a realtor says, hey, we want 6% interest. Well, what do? Well, you go right here. Your numbers are already in there. 6. Watch that 916. Now that changes. That's your new monthly payment, 1978. So now I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put in 1978. And as you will see, that deal don't work. So now you can go back to the real estate agent and you can say, look, and I very often will send a real estate agent this screenshot of this middle box, not the rest of it, especially not the overview box, because that's going to be showing how much money you're making. You don't want to do that. But I would definitely send them a box, say, look, I'm all about, you know, working with you guys to get the terms that you want. But my investor needs to be able to cash flow, or there's no reason for them to buy it. There's actually more of a reason for them not to buy it, because if you see from the screenshot, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, with the terms that you're asking for, my investor would be losing $7,200 a year. Obviously, that's not going to fly. So what can we do about this? And then wait. This is, oh, by the way, this is on the phone. This is putting people on the spot. What are we going to do? And then you wait. And you see what they say. If they really want to make the deal happen, they're going to say, okay, let me go back to my sellers and see what we can do. If they never wanted to work with you in the first place, they're going to be like, well, this is what we want, so never mind. And in which case, thank you so much for telling me, so I don't have to waste my time anymore, and then move on. You don't say that to them. You say like, all right, not a problem. My offer is good for 30 days if your sellers change their mind. And if you have any other properties or sellers that are having a hard time moving their property on market, let me know. My investors will be interested. You get a nice little jab in there. No, I'm just kidding. But sometimes you gotta tell people the truth. Like, hey, your property's been listed for 90 plus days. You have 0 offers. I'm trying to give you something that'll help. You said that you were open to creative financing. Let's work on a deal to where we can actually sell this thing and we can all get paid. So sometimes you gotta tell people the truth. I tell sellers all the time for off-market properties, oh, I want this amount of money for my property. I don't know who you've been talking to, but I actually kind of enjoy talking to you, Mr. Seller. And I don't know if the people that you've spoken to before just don't respect you enough to tell you the truth, but I'm not one of them. So hopefully we can still remain friends after this, but your property is not worth that amount of money in this condition that it's in. How am I supposed to give you X, Y, and Z when your property is only worth X? It's going to cost me Z to get it fixed, and then I got to pay for a realtor to sell it, which is also going to cost me Y. How am I supposed to pay you what you just asked me for? Your house is only worth this amount of money.
If it was worth that, then it would have sold by now.
Yeah, exactly. So you just have to be able to tell them the truth. Mercedes, does that answer your question?
It does. So, in other words, you were saying that seller finance payment, don't touch that because it automatically populates once we put everything that's in the blue completed.
No, not in the way that you're thinking. So yes and no. So this number, this box here is only made for when a real estate agent wants interest. So if a real estate agent doesn't ask for interest, it won't auto-populate. You'll still need to type in the deal sniper number here.
It's really just so that you can. It's really just so you can put the interest in there, so you can screenshot it and send it back to them to say it won't work.
I mean, for the most part, yeah.
So as of now, since an offer hasn't been made, me running the numbers as is and what we already have based on just that altogether, looks like the new one that I just ran looks like a good deal because I didn't move anything on the other page, which is the seller finance page where it says seller finance payment. I didn't change anything there. It just populated by itself an amount.
Here on this page right there,
that where it says long term.
Yeah. No, long term.
That number.
This one.
Yeah, under that. Okay, see where it says seller finance payment.
Oh, this one. Yeah, this is in white. This will populate based off of what you put here.
What I put over there.
Yeah. So right now it's 8,400. If I change it, because remember, this is yearly numbers. So this should turn to $6,000.
Gotcha. I see that now.
But this number you still need to make sure is accurate.
Make sure that looks good.
And this you'll get from Deal Sniper.
Got it. I did that. So, well, based on what I just did without even talking to the agent, then everything looks good for right now.
Nice.
So I'm confident in sending this out to them.
There you go.
And talk about these numbers.
Awesome. Good luck. Sarah, what's up?
I have one, Sean. It's an off market.
Okay. Off market. Is it a creative finance or a cash?
Creative finance.
No shit. All right. Seller finance or hybrid?
Seller.
All right. What are the numbers?
250. Okay. So far as the seller finance, I'm not able to do that in creative finance. I mean, in the Deal Sniper.
Oh, you can put the address of the property in Deal Sniper, and it'll still tell you. Really?
Yes, it didn't come up in Deal Sniper.
Did you copy and paste it, or did you try and type it?
I did both.
No shit.
It didn't come up. It was like 0 numbers, like no seller finance numbers, nothing.
Okay. Did it tell you? Does it say what the taxes, insurance, and the rent is?
Yeah. So he just gave me everything for the taxes and insurance.
All right. What about the rent?
He said $1,900 a month.
Okay.
6% interest rate.
He's got a 6% interest rate right now, or that's what he wants?
That's what he wants.
Okay. He's already losing me.
Right. So he said the principal, taxes, and insurance. He said 1868 will cover everything.
Okay, so then he's got a mortgage.
So that's a mortgage, right?
Yeah. So then that would probably be a hybrid or subject to. It depends. How much is the mortgage balance?
That's all he gets. See, he said 250, but when I pulled it up, the mortgage balance was like what is it? It's 100,000, 196, 274.
Are you talking to the owner of the house, or are you talking to a wholesaler?
This was he wasn't even. She's a realtor that has it, and it's
Okay.
off market.
Okay, so she might be wholesaling it because it literally sounds like a sub 2 with a $15,000 assignment fee attached to it.
Because I told him the numbers that I have didn't work. He was like, "Well, let's see what you come up with, and then we can get it off the ground."
Yeah, that sounds fishy. But let me see. Okay, so what does prop wire say the mortgage is? 190 what? 5?
190 196 274.
Okay.
Mortgage balance.
All right. That doesn't matter. If we want to make let's see. If we want to make 15 and then we give them at 20. Are you selling it for how much?
They're selling it. He said 250.
Yeah, this motherfucker's trying to make like a $3,000 assignment fee, or he said he would give them 30, and then he's trying to make 25.
I was like 15 down. I think I had did like 25 down, and it was like negative 46 point something percent.
Yeah, the deal. Okay, so it sounds like it's a subject to or a wrap that they're trying to sell you. If they're the owners of the property, then their numbers are just off, or they're trying to do it as a hybrid
where they can make the money in the middle.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, if they're the owners, then that just means that they have a $196,000 mortgage.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, how much money will we give them if we were going to do 250 and then we did 195? Then we did $25,000 down, which would be the max, right? Yeah. So if we did that,
I don't care about nothing else that's going on.
96, and this would be 29,000.
So please explain to me what the problem is with y'all 3 and then 3. That's all I
It
need.
doesn't work anyway because
not 2. Okay.
she said that GITI was 1,800. So I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, if the property only rents for 1,900 and the mortgage GITI is 1,800, the deal's not going to cash flow at all. It's going to have negative cash flow.
Right.
So that already doesn't work.
Hey
Sarah, is that your TV in the background?
Can you hear it?
Yes, girl.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
When you watching Paperboy?
I was catching up on baddies. I'm sorry.
You know what show I just got into? Don't judge me. All the Queen's Men.
I love it.
If y'all ain't seen that, that's
me too.
That's I love it. I don't know. I like the drama. I like the dance. I love it.
Except for what's his name?
Wait, so what show?
All the Queen's Men.
All the Queen's Men.
Say something. I know what you look like. Only thing that every time I watch that, you know what I think? Man, I need to go to the gym.
It's only one big guy, but the rest of them is okay.
All right. The deal doesn't work. It doesn't. There's no way I can make it work. even
There's
if
no way we could put numbers in to make this work. Because he was like,
mm-mm.
come up. He was telling me, well, come up with something and we can make it to see if you can make it work. Because I told him the numbers that I put in, it didn't work. It didn't cash flow.
it
It
doesn't
didn't
cash.
work at all.
Well,
That's
just
the problem.
say no interest and see what happens.
Well, it doesn't matter because he's got a mortgage. So his mortgage payment is at
Oh,
$1,800 a month. It'll only rent for $1,900.
Right.
Like that's $100 a month in cash flow, not including vacancy, repairs, capex, none or any type of profit. So yeah, there's no way to make it work. And if he wants to know reason why, what it'll rent for is too close to what the monthly payment is. There's no cash. There's no positive cash flow in between. There's none left on the bone for the
That's what I
investor to take it.
said. And I was
There's
like,
none
well,
left.
then I said the same thing. So, because
At
he
least you
got
got
three
the
other
right,
properties. Because I have a couple of properties that's wholesale.
like their wholesalers.
No, this is through the realtor that gave me a pocket listing.
I mean, if the numbers work, but if the numbers don't, you got, I mean, that's the thing. Like, you want to get to the point where not only are you guys working with real estate agents on a consistent basis, but you're working with them in a way that you don't have to walk on eggshells in order to
Right.
keep the relationship. You
To
need to
make
be
it
able
make
to tell
sense.
them, yeah, you need to be able to tell them, look, here's what my investors are looking for. I want to put so much money in your pocket, but the deal has to fit this mold. If it fits the mold, we'll move it. If it doesn't, I appreciate you letting me take a look for it. No hard feelings. They're not going to take it. Like, I'm not going to lie to you and waste your time, Mrs. and Mrs. Realtor. That's what everyone else does to you. I'm not going to do that to you. I'm going to tell you straight up, unless you want me to start lying to you.
Right. I
So
think
yeah,
I
you
was
got to
in a
tell them.
Facebook group. I think I was in a Facebook group, and this realtor, they reached out to me, like on a post, like
that's more
trying
of
to
a
find a
red
cash.
flag. That's
And
more of
so
a
I was
Yeah,
red
like,
I
flag.
was literally just thinking that makes me lean more to the fact that they're a wholesaler,
right.
like, and not they don't actually own the property.
There's a 1% rule for renting it out. You know,
Yeah, you got to be able to rent. I mean, it's a little outdated. It's more like 2% now. But yeah, you got to be able to rent the property out for a good amount of profit versus what you bought it for. And this one just doesn't do that.
because I mean, in that case, it would be like 20. You'd have to get like $2,600 a month in rent.
I
Right.
actually
So,
think I think
so
it'd be
what did we
closer
put in for the
to
seller finance amount? Where I
$29,000.
can explain it to him, it doesn't work.
$29,000. Because I mean, hold on, let me check my math. I'm not using a calculator tonight. If I take $196,000 plus $29,000, yep, plus $25,000. Yeah, let's do it. It's a $250,000 purchase price. So yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I know. I shouldn't second guess myself either.
So I just let him know I don't cash flow.
Yeah, it doesn't cash flow.
All right. Thanks, Sean. I figured that.
No, it's all right. Your thinking was right, and I'm always going to be here to double check back off of. Don't worry about it.
All right.
I got a quick question about the LTR versus the STR. The STRs are like an
Don't cash flow.
Airbnb.
Yes.
Okay, so obviously you could make an investor could make more money as if you market it to and sold it to them if it had a high short term rental potential.
As long as the potential is good, but once you put the numbers in, like for this one, right? Let's say it rented for double. Let's say it
Like
rented for 12 months.
if it was like in a high tourist area, then your Airbnb would be higher than your long term rental. You know,
Exactly. Yeah. If you're somewhere like Florida or anywhere by the water, and I'm not talking about, because a lot of people do this, they're like niche, like those Hobbit hole Airbnbs, which those are cool as shit. Don't get me wrong, but it needs to be in a place that's known for Airbnb, down the street from Disneyland, across the street from Universal Studios, shit like that. Down the street from the San Diego Zoo, or in Dana Point in California, Las Vegas, Laughlin. Places like that, yeah, that's going to be primarily short-term rental.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's just normal residential without anything nearby, then it'll probably be a long-term rental. And here's another one, bonus, and we don't have this on the calculator because they're a little bit rare. But if you guys ever come across a property and you want to see if it works as a midterm rental, here's a quick check. See if it's within 10 miles of 3 hospitals. Now, it's got to be 3 or more hospitals or big medical centers. If you have a property that is within 10 miles, some states is 5, or some states is 5, most states is 10. But if you've got 3 hospitals or medical centers around one property, I would 100% run that as a midterm rental.
So you're talking like midterm rental because I live close to a hospital and there's a lot of medical interns that come in and out for weeks at a time.
Exactly, and that's exactly what the midterm rental.
So like a 6 week or 3 month rental or something like that.
Yep, and you're charging like $500-600 a room, and you have a 3-4 bedroom property. Now the property needs to be not listed, needs to be furnished and all that stuff. A good website to check midterm rentals is furnishfinder.com or homeads/calculator.com. That's a great place to check midterm rentals for free. You don't have to pay for it. And it'll run it and let you know if it'll work. And typically you want 3 bedrooms.
I don't know if it's me, but I can't hear you.
I can't hear either.
It was probably his line or a call or something.
I can't hear anything.
He probably got disconnected or something. I just wait a little bit. There he is.
Yeah, I don't know what happened, but my internet at my house just went. Are we having a fucking storm outside? Because that's usually the only time this happens. Oh, that looks like Black Death coming towards us. Okay, well, so we'll finish it this way. I'll just do it on my phone. Unfortunately, I won't be able to share my screen with you guys, but I'm going to make sure I get the rest of your questions answered. I don't remember what I was saying when I got cut off.
You were talking about midterm rentals.
Oh, yeah. Furnishfinder.com and homeads/calculator or homeads.com/calculators. That'll calculate midterm rentals for you. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. And you want to stick to 3 bedrooms or higher. If you've got an area where it's like a lot of hospitals or medical centers, then you can try and squeeze in a 2-bedroom. But there are literally positions in hospital systems, all of them. And their job is to place traveling nurses in different living situations for a few months at a time so they can do their whatever tour they're doing. So yeah, if you find something that's got 3 hospitals near it, run it as a midterm. And then let me know, because I have buyers who will buy those for sure.
Yeah, because see, I think I have a lot of those types moving into my neighborhood, but the price of because the neighborhood's just blowing up with new houses. But the thing is like for a traditional long-term rental, the numbers don't make sense. But I'm gonna go back and play with it because I think for the midterm rental, you can demand more, and it might actually work.
Absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Grant, what's up, dude?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you now. What's going on?
Okay, so I was just curious. I know you guys use PropWire just to find the existing mortgage balance for properties, but that site doesn't always locate certain properties. So do you use like Deal Sauce or Batch Leads at all? Like, what do you typically use if PropWire doesn't work?
Me personally, I like batch leads, and the reason why I like batch leads is that's honestly the one I started off with. And I'm same thing with Redfin versus Zillow. I learned on Redfin first, so I prefer Redfin. Ideally, they're the same though. And what I have found is that I don't know too much about the first one you just mentioned, but I have found that PropStream, PropWire, and batch leads usually have almost identical information. So if it's not on one, it's usually not on the other ones.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
No problem. Let's see. Kendrick, what's up, dude? You're muted if you're talking, bro.
What's up, Sean?
Not
Hey,
much.
with the sub 2 deal,
Say that again. Can I what?
can you help me out with the sub 2 deal? See if the
Yeah.
numbers. That's
I mean, I'm not going to be able to run it where you can see it, but yeah, I can run it. Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. You guys might want to mute yourself. Oh, let me just mute. Okay. I'm back. And it looks like my internet's up again. Yeah, we got Black Death coming towards us. This is going to be fun. I'm going to go play in the rain. Okay. Now I can show you guys my screen. All right, so you got all the numbers. You said it's a sub 2, right?
I believe so.
All right.
So,
what is it listed for?
oh, asking price. Let me get to that. 434,000.
Okay. And then what's the mortgage balance?
He sent me over the statement. I believe it's under outstanding principal balance, right?
Correct.
It's going to be 334,935.
That's probably going to be a hybrid.
Hybrid. Okay.
You said it's 434, 400 is what they have it listed for?
Yeah.
Yeah. So minus 335, that's like 90 grand. That's actually $99,000 in equity that they've. So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to underwrite it as a hybrid because I think it's a hybrid. Doesn't this just, well, no, yeah, it has to be a hybrid. It doesn't matter what the hell they want to do. If they want to,
What's the difference sub 2 and hybrid? Sub 2 is just yeah, what's the difference?
subject to means they have a mortgage. We're going to give them a little bit of money and then based off their mortgage balance, and then they're going to walk away. Hybrid or seller finance or hybrid means that they have a mortgage, but they also want more money. They want their equity also. So we're going to take over their mortgage and then seller finance their equity.
Okay, so sub 2, they're just getting their mortgage taken over. Hybrid, they're getting their mortgage taken over, plus they're getting payments.
Right. You just got to remember that you got to use the terminology property. We're not taking over their mortgage. We're servicing their monthly mortgage payment.
Service.
Because the note is staying in their name?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that's why we're not doing any assumptions. Our investors don't do assumptions. For those of you that don't know, an assumption means it's in my name when we start, and at closing, it's in your name for your investor. That's not what we do. We do subject to. That means it's in my name at when we start. It's still in my name after closing. You're just making the monthly payment for me. That's a subject to. That's what we do. So if anyone ever says to you, well, the loan's not assumable, well, that's okay because we're not trying to assume it. We're trying to subject to it.
But
that's
not the case for seller finance because then the title transfers at closing.
The title's going to transfer at closing regardless of which of these you're doing.
But the note is
but
still
the mortgage is going to stay in
the mortgage. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to run this as a hybrid, dude, because it's got to be a hybrid. How much are you giving them as a down payment?
10,000.
Well, that's fantastic. What's their monthly mortgage payment?
He gave me a March monthly. So okay, 7,700.
The monthly mortgage payment is 7,700.
I think so.
It's got to be per year.
No, the mortgage
Month-
statements don't show you per year.
Sorry. Let me run it back. 2,493.
You scared the hell out of me, sir.
Scared myself.
What's the interest rate?
It looks like 6.8.
Okay. All right, and then we're gonna give them 10. All right. So what'll it rent for? What does Deal Sniper say it'll rent for?
Let me go back to Deal Sniper. 2,300.
Oh, that's not gonna work.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's automatically not going to work.
Now I know it's not
good
gonna
to
work.
be true.
Kendrick, do you understand why it's not gonna work? Because that's most important.
Let's see.
You should be able to tell just from this box. And if you can't, don't worry about it. You're new. That's why we're doing this.
I can't tell either.
The monthly payment can't be higher than the rent.
That's exactly right. So
Wait, say that again, please.
Your
the
monthly payment can't be higher than the rent.
than the rent.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it won't cash flow. So if we go to hybrid, I mean, even if I take out the monthly payment to the seller, it doesn't cash flow. Oh, that's not right. This is 2,400. Sorry, 2,490.
It's even worse.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot worse. Yeah. So because what they're paying out every single month for the mortgage is $29,900, but they're only bringing in $2,700. I'm sorry, $27,000 a year. So right off the bat, not including these expenses that come with owning an investment, you're already negative. So yeah, this one, and it sucks because your entry fee, look at that. In all honesty, and I know this is not helping by in any means, but it's a teaching moment, so I'm going to do it. You could probably, what is it? Yeah, you could go all the way up to 40.
Wow.
Yeah, look at that. You can go up to 40 grand on that. So I know that sucks because it doesn't work. It's like, why would you show me that? Well, because it's a teaching moment, because your entry fee percentage was so low that I wanted to teach you what your range could be. And that's a matter of preference, everyone. Just because you can charge that much doesn't mean you should, especially if you want to get the deal sold quickly. Because if I drop this thing even down to $15,000, which I don't know who on this call is going to thumb their nose up at $15,000, but probably shouldn't be here because that means you're greedy. You could get that moved in a second and still make $15,000. So that's the teaching moment.
That deal could work if you lowball the purchase price because it's sitting on the market long enough, and you got to think about it. It wouldn't cash flow for that price. He's hardly in it equity wise.
Well, the deal still wouldn't work.
It should just be a sub 2.
But even if we dropped it down to a sub 2, it's not going to change what the property will rent for versus what the mortgage payment is.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, so that still wouldn't work.
So just tell them I'll have to pass on this.
We're gonna just tell them it's unfortunate that your deal doesn't cash flow for my investors. Your mortgage payment is $2,500 a month. The place at most will only rent for $2,300 a month, which means not including any of the other expenses, my investor would be losing $200 a month straight out the gate. And none of my investors are going to take a deal like that. And when you explain it like that, I'm like, he's probably going to be butthurt a little bit, and I would be too. It sucks, but it's like he shouldn't be mad at you. It is what it is, kind of thing. Nobody can control that. Him. Nobody can control what the place will rent for, and his mortgage payment is what it is. So it's not like it's anybody's fault.
My question is, as far as where do we get the potential rental? How much it'll rent for? Because I was just looking at my neighborhood and
right here
places were okay. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So, how is that determining? Is that looking at comps for similar?
This is pulling from, I believe it's 5 different sources, and then averaging the rent against all those 5 for this property or for each individual property. So it'll pull from Zillow Rent, Privy, Rentometer, probably Home Ads, some other shit. I don't know the other one, but it's going to pull from a bunch of different places, and then whatever formula they're using to average it together to come up with this, which is why this will all, the same thing will look like it's been done by a calculator. You won't ever go
That
to a
was
rental site.
because see, I was doing one for my neighborhood, and that estimated rent was actually higher than what I was seeing on stuff for my neighborhood at first glance, and I'm wondering if maybe it's factoring in what investors are getting from like subsidies from the government for like Section 8 too to get the higher rent.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be mixing, because that's a whole nother source. So when I said it's pulling from multiple sources to get the rent, it's not pulling from HUD to get the Section 8 rent.
It's pulling from like what Zillow for places to rent, not like for sale.
Correct.
To determine what the rent is. Okay.
Right. Yeah. It's not pulling like purchase information.
Okay.
Kendrick, did that answer your question about your deal, bro? I'm sorry to break it to you.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Not a problem. Let's see. Amber, what's up? And then David, and then Tiffany.
Yeah, so my question is, it's not about this at all. So, I'm working with a buyer for multifamily.
Mm-hmm.
So my first question is, have you ever done a multifamily, like closed on, something like that?
Oh yeah, multifamilies are fun. Those things cash flow, it's crazy. And then you calculate the value add, and you're like, no shit. And then you can't wait to make your disposition material.
There we go. Talk to me now. So I already have, like I said, the buyer. He pretty much did the LOI and everything. They're ready to move forward.
Nice. All right, show off. So what do you do? You're on here just bragging about shit? I thought you had a question.
No. You know, but I did want to ask you, like, this is going to be like a 48 unit, and
okay.
Of course he's giving me his. Thank you. He's giving me his price, and I'm wondering, what would you do for like assignment fee for yourself? That's the only question I have.
Oh, what's the purchase price?
Purchase price. Okay,
so the investor, the buyer.
I got you. If it's a hard money, it's going to be 3.5, and if it's seller finance, it's 4.2.
Okay, so you know how my personality is, so don't judge me.
Mm-hmm.
I probably wouldn't go less than 50, and I probably wouldn't go much higher than 75.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people say you can push that to 125, 150, no problem. I'm inherently not greedy. I grew up poor as shit. So, like, you know what I mean? That's coming from me. What you could push it to, depending on which route it goes, if it goes the higher route, if you're ballsy, yeah, you can push it to 150.
So this is what I was thinking, because he said I can add it on top. I don't have to include it in the offer to the seller.
You should be adding. Yeah, you shouldn't.
Okay. I was thinking that because this isn't like a small lot or something. Okay, I knew I wasn't crazy.
Okay, yeah, no, that's right.
Okay.
Thanks.
So 3.5, I was thinking 2 to 5%.
Okay.
And then 4.2 if it's seller finance, and I was thinking just a flat 150.
I'm not mad at you.
Okay, but like I said, I have multiple that I'll be sending him, so I don't want it to come off like I need this now. And I just kind of want to make sure I play my cards right.
Absolutely. I mean, there's multiple schools of thought when you're dealing with a deal this big, especially if you're looking to do repeat business with the same person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you could preface it by saying, look, man, you know, without going into details, I'm gonna make this one like real simple. I'm not gonna put a lot on here, and here's why. I want to work with you again in the future. I want to build this relationship right, and I want to make sure that this first one goes through without a hitch, so that you and I can figure out how we put it together. So
Perfect.
on this one, full disclosure, I'm probably chopping off about 35% off of what I would normally charge, but we're gonna make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would word it like that. I mean, whether you chop off 35% or not, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like I would tell them, like, hey man, I could build probably 4% into this deal. I'm not gonna do that because I want to work with you in the future. So I'm gonna put it at 2%. That's what I want.
Ooh, perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, David, and then Tiffany.
Yeah, so I think I'm piggybacking off the sub 2 question. So like my thing is, so if I'm looking at a listing, right, and then I'm looking at the numbers, so for example, like I have something in front of me right now. It says the list price is 320, but the mortgage balance is 200, but they have equity of like 94. So what I'm asking is like, when I'm looking at that, like how can I analyze that faster to know between this is definitely a hybrid versus this is a sub 2? Because I'm pretty much good with the seller finance part, but like those two things, those still mess me up.
They're not gonna do a sub 2 if they've
hold on
got
one second, dude.
90,000 in equity.
Hold on, dude. Let me ask you this, David.
Yeah.
Out of your gut, from what you've picked up and gleaned so far, what does your gut tell you it is? Is it a sub 2 or is it a hybrid?
I think it's a hybrid.
Why?
Right? Because because their balance is high, but they have a lot. The equity is like a lot too, so they have to get that money too, right?
Exactly. No, your instinct is 100% right, and that's why I want to ask you first. So the math behind it, I can do it because, well, I've been doing this for a long time. But if you want to know the math behind it, okay. So our SOP, you guys stick with me on this one because I've heard when I explain this, it gets confusing.
Yeah.
The SOP for any creative deal is the down payment can only be 10%. That's max, 10% of the purchase price, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if that 10%, whatever that number is less than the difference between what they're selling it for and their mortgage, it's a hybrid.
Okay.
If our down payment, in order to bridge the gap between their mortgage balance and what they're selling it for, is more than the 10% that we would offer them as a down payment, it's a hybrid.
So even when I've been putting, but like again, so when you put it into the system, it's pretty much good one. Because I've been putting something, and it'll be like, what it'll say, it'll pop up and it'll say this deal is like too low or the offer's too low, and then it'll say like move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of what you're saying.
That's because hybrids are, and Amber, back me up because you know, hybrids are very hard to cash flow. And the reason why they're hard to cash flow is because we're asking the investor to pay two things instead of one. When it's a seller finance, they just got to pay the seller. When it's a subject to, they just got to pay the mortgage. When it's a hybrid, they got to pay both. And then whatever's left, that's your cash flow. And typically, even if we're giving the seller a little bit, like with yours has got what, $94,000 worth of equity? Even if we gave them $100 a month, that $100 is probably enough to kill the cash on cash return, and then it won't work. That's why Deal Sniper says don't do it. So
let me ask you this. So again, if the mortgage was still the same, but they had like 15, or if they had like 30%, would that's like, I shouldn't say it like that. If it was still $200,000 mortgage, right? But the equity wasn't 94, it was like 30. Would that still be a hybrid, or could you do a sub 2? Because that could be the purchase, like the down payment. Like you can
do a sub 2 on that.
So would you?
But that's, hold on. That's depending. That depends on your skill. Like for me, what I would consider a hybrid for my, like if I was going to be the closer on it versus what somebody else would consider hybrid are two totally different things. Because I know I'm good at closing. So if I have a $94,000 gap, I'll probably be able to talk that shit down and get it as a sub 2. So if the balance is close, like it's like, damn, we're over that 10% mark, but we're only over by 20 grand. Now the question is, shit, can I talk them down 20 grand? If you can, Now you can turn it into a subject to. If you can't yet, then you just make it a hybrid and you pay them monthly on that 20 grand as for their equity. So to answer your question, as far as the numbers, a lot of that is, if it's a big gap, like if it's $150,000, I'm just going to do a hybrid. Like I'm good, but I'm that tug of war. I'm not interested. That's going to take so much time. I'll just do the hybrid. But if it's like 50, if it's a $50,000 difference, yeah, I can talk them down into a sub two. That's no problem. So that's going to be dependent on you.
Okay. And then it's the same thing too. Like if it's like in the middle, like if they all 100, but they got 100, and like then what would you do? Like if it was the mortgage balance was 100, but they had like 102 in equity, what would you do then?
Wait, so the mortgage balance is $100,000, but they're selling it for $200,000?
I don't know. I'm just making up some random stuff. I'm just, what I mean? Like if they had high equity, but the mortgage was like low, like near it too, like what would you do?
I would probably do a hybrid.
Okay. Cause yeah, like that's like when I'm speaking to the realtors now, like I said, it's pretty easy if I can see it's gonna be cash or like a seller finance. But when I see the numbers in front of me, I still get confused on whether it should be a sub two or a hybrid. So
yeah, I would do it like this. If it's a big gap between what they want and what their mortgage balance is, I would assume that it's going to be a hybrid. But then you could get on the phone with them and find out there's a lot of motivation and they want to do this quick, and maybe you try and see, hey, we could do this and get it done a lot faster if we do it this way, and then give them the option until you get more comfortable. Like, yeah, I can talk them down that much, or hell no, that's too much. I'm not going to be able to talk them down that much. Just give them the hybrid.
Okay. All right. Well, I don't want to take up too much time because I know there's other people got questions.
No, it's all good. I'm on here until you guys don't need me anymore, or until you guys jump off to get on Calvin's meeting. I think that's in like half an hour.
All right. Well, I'll pop back in if I got another question.
There you go.
All right.
All right. Who was next? Tiffany.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much.
Okay, so I got a question. I'm noticing when I go on Redfin, I'm seeing a lot of houses that have HOA.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like a no-no? A no-no?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
It's not a definite no-no. It is significantly harder to move deals that have HOAs. People, myself included, investors, they don't like HOAs at all. Like at all. Even if there's no issue, even the HOA is cool with rentals and it's only like $30 a month. HOAs can be a huge pain. Here's what I'll say this though. If you've got an HOA that's okay with rentals and the HOA monthly payment doesn't destroy your cash on cash return and it's a good deal, I still say go for it. If there's a 1% chance you can get paid on a deal, I say go for it. Just set the proper expectation with the real estate agent. Hey, look, typically my investors don't really like HOA. So, give me 2 weeks and I'm gonna do my best to move it and I'll let you know. You guys set the proper expectation. You don't want to look like a liar. You know what I mean?
Right. And I had one more question, but I can't remember what it was. Lord have mercy.
It'll come to remember just later. Yeah, it'll probably as soon as we hang up, watch.
Right. Okay.
Tim, what's up, man? Oh, you're muted, bro, if you're talking.
Oh, did you pick me already?
Yeah. What's up, dude?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I was talking just about the deals to my brother, actually, and then I came across a question I wanted to ask. So I got to follow up with Esther tomorrow regarding that property. She was kind of interested in the seller finance deal. And
I remember her.
Yeah. So it was 222. She's going back and forth. Like she's so hesitant and she's acting like she's super busy, but I don't think so. I just think she's trying to avoid. Anyways, so I had offered her the 222, 15K down, and it was 500 a month. And she was kind of focusing on like 500 was too low. But I was structuring the deal around the rental at 1775, which is the current tenant that's in there. I think the lease expires in September. And so I didn't really want to go any higher than 700 would really be the max to have a decent cash flow or cash on cash return. Should I market the market rent is really 2,000 to 2,100, and so should I structure the deal around that or what the current tenant is paying?
And you said the lease is up in like 2.5 months, 3 months?
I think so. I gotta confirm, but I think I remember her saying it's in September. I didn't know like if the rules were like, say the owner changes hands, can that new owner immediately charge market rent, or does he have to abide by the lease agreement that the tenant had?
If there's a lease in place, yes, then whatever lease is in place, that's the rules that the new investor has to go by. If it's month to month, or when it becomes month to month, then yeah, the new owner can charge whatever they want.
Right. Okay. So yeah, that's why I was structuring the deal around 1775, and so
What's it look like at 2100? Is it significant? I mean, I know it's going to be better, but is it significantly better?
Let me see. Hold on. 222. We did 15K down, so that's what, 207. Let's see. We're getting 15 down, 10, and let's see. So 1775 makes this. Oh, hold on. I gotta change this. The taxes and insurance. Give me 1 second. I can pull this up with us.
What do you think?
4201. All right. Okay, so taxes 33.59 and insurance about 1,200. All right, so yeah, when I bump it to 700 a month for her payment, we're at 51.46 for cash flow, so 17% cash on cash return. And you're asking if we do market rent at, let's say, 2,100. What monthly payment are we thinking?
Just 2,000, just to be on the safe side. Might as well. I'd rather you have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
2,000 is the rent.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the monthly payment to her, what should I put that on?
What's the cash on cash return with the 2,000 rent?
2,000 rent and 700 payment is 25.
What's the cash flow?
74.
Can get up to 1,000. That might be
yeah. That's it's 38.41, so 13%, 12.9.
Yeah. Okay. So that would be the highest. Would be 1,000 then.
At market rent of 2,000.
At market rent, yeah. And then obviously, if it is at 2,100 and you do have to have that extra 100, then it just gets better.
Yeah.
But does she know that you're wholesaling the deal?
I don't think so. I think she thinks I'm the end buyer.
Okay. So even if, which I don't like that, but even if she thinks you're the end buyer, I would let her know, hey, I need to be able to cash flow this thing, or I have no incentive to buy it. And I'm willing to give you more money, but it can't be ridiculous, because if I can't cash flow the deal, then I don't want it anymore.
Right.
And I would work it from that angle and see if you can get it, like, and then try and find out how much she actually wants. Like what are you actually looking for? Because remember, Mrs. Seller, she's female, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, Mrs. Seller, I'm taking care of everything. You don't have to take care of the taxes. You don't have to take care of the insurance. You don't have to take care of any of the repairs. You don't take care of the tenant. Whatever money I give you is pure positive cash flow just for you.
Yeah.
So how much do you actually want?
Right. I got to remind her of that. And that's what I tried to tell her today. And she was like, she hasn't, her words were, I need time to, like look this up to see what I really want. Cause she's like, 500 doesn't work. But I asked her, I was like, all right, so what would work? She's like, well, I need time to, think about that. And so when I followed up today, she's like, I haven't had a chance to think about that. So I got to follow up with her tomorrow and try to get
her.
Gotta
love it.
Yeah. Give me a number. I'm like, can you just do your research already?
Like, just tell me how much you want. This isn't a job interview. I'm not. If I can give it to you, I will.
I know. I'm like, I told her straight up. I started that conversation too that you said we got to make this work cash flow wise, but again, she's like, I don't know if she actually was distracted or she just didn't want to talk at the time, but she seemed very distracted on the phone. So that's why I was like, take your time. Let me follow up with you tomorrow. And she's like, okay, that works. So
that's probably a good call, because the fact that she's still answering you, she obviously knows your number by now. So the fact that she's still answering you, that means she's still willing to talk to you. So just give her time. It's one of those, that's a delicate,
I know.
fight for every damn yard, but it'll be worth it.
Right. I'm not trying to be too pushy, and it's, the whole thing is she's having like some kind of family issues. I think her parents were sick or something. So I'm being like very polite. I'm not trying to be pushy. So I'm trying to give her space, but at the same time, I'm like, yo, lady, come on, man.
Yeah. Like I want to put money in your pocket, and money will make you feel better. I promise.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. All right, cool. Thank you.
No problem. Tiffany, you remember your question?
I do.
What is
So
it?
I looked at a house earlier and it had no like inside pictures. It just had pictures on the outside. Move on or go through.
And then you can reach out to the realtor and be like, hey, what's the condition on the inside? I noticed that there weren't any photos, which is usually my answer, but I just want to double check. You can, I mean, something funny, put an LOL at the end of that.
Okay. All right. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't hurt to ask. It's just, it all depends on if it's worth your time. Is it worth your time to write that email or make that phone call?
I don't know. That's why I asked.
I mean, only you know what your time is worth.
Yeah, that's true too.
But if it were me, I'm not going to pass up on any opportunity. If it's low hanging fruit and it's just an email, do it.
Okay. All right. Makes sense. Thank you.
No problem. I don't know how to pronounce your name. And after what I did with Christopher, I'm not going to try. How do I pronounce your name? It's not Andrew. It's the other one.
Oh, me, Trevarial.
Okay, what's up, dude?
Oh, I just started, and I just want to just advice of what I should do first, starting with Deal Sniper, because I've looked at the videos, but I still don't know what I should be start off on first.
Okay. Have you been to the Deal Sniper playlist?
I don't think I have found it yet. I'm doing it on my phone, and I'm just starting to look on Discord and just see where. I'm just trying to find where everything's at.
Gotcha. Okay, so let me help you out. I'm going to put it in this in the in-call chat that you're on right now.
Oh, okay.
Do you know how to get to that on your phone? It's the 3 dots, and then you'll see in-call messages.
Okay, I see it. Thank you.
Bet. All right, so how to find everything in Discord. That is that one. That'll be how to navigate Discord. Where's all the resources? Where are the contracts? Where's the calculator? Where's the videos? Where's all that? And then to get started, I recommend you at the very least watch the first video in this playlist. This is Deal Sniper 101. This will tell you how to get started. And then the rest of the playlist will answer about 99.9% of the questions that you'll have from getting started. And then once you're done with that, once you've gone through the playlist and you have questions, write them down, schedule a one-on-one with me, shoot me a DM. We'll jump on a one-on-one meeting and I'll fill in whatever gaps you're missing. And then we'll go from there.
All right. Thank you so much.
No problem. Andrew, what's up, man?
Yeah, I'm still trying to determine what route I'm going to go with the whole wholesaling thing, because it's just this is targeting obviously properties that have positive cash flow for rental purposes, and versus lowballing a distressed property for a fix and flipper.
Correct.
And so I guess my question is, what's easier to get buyers under contract? I mean, sellers under contract versus, and then which one's more lucrative?
Easier is going to be relative to you. So I'm going to ask you this, but you're going to have to be honest if you want me to point you in the right direction. What are you good at when it comes to wholesaling? Are you better at talking professional or talking casual? We'll start there.
I'm sorry, say that one more time.
Are you better at talking professional or are you better at talking casual?
Maybe professional, maybe I don't know, maybe casual, I don't know.
All right, let me try it a different way. If I told you, hey, Andrew, I got this real estate agent that needs a breakdown of how seller financing works before they sign the contract, and I'm busy. Will you call them right now? Can you do it?
Yeah, probably not right this second, but I
Okay.
mean, yeah, I see what you're saying.
Okay, so if I said, hey, I've got this seller and they're going into pre-foreclosure, it's off market, and they're pretty hard up right now. They just need someone to connect with. I'm busy. Can you give them a call? See what's up? Can you do it?
Yeah.
Okay, so then you're better off market. Until you get good at having conversations with real estate agents, then you need to work to your strength, because that'll be easier for you since you're already good at it. And you need to connect with people and bypass the real estate agent. You need to connect with the homeowner directly. That's going to be off market. Because what I don't want you guys to do, any of you, is to go and skip trace a property that's on market and bypass the real estate agent and go directly to the seller. That's not cool. Like, don't do that.
So usually when you're talking about seller, you're really talking about agent.
No, I'm talking about the seller, the owner of the property. If
Well,
I'm
I
an
mean,
agent, I'm
in
the
this
real.
instance, but when you're like in general, when you're talking about making offers to the seller, you're really talking about making offers through the agent.
I don't
Because we don't
know.
want to bypass the agent.
Well,
like you said.
yeah. Anytime if I'm talking about on market, I'm regardless of what comes out of my mouth, I'm talking about the real estate agent.
Right. Okay.
If I'm talking about off market, I say seller. I thought I was keeping that separate, but there's 6 of me, so maybe we weren't. I don't know.
Okay, that makes sense.
Hey, I just want to say I used to think like that too, bro. But I would say that I think it's best, especially with the tools that we've been given here and what we're learning, to attempt to do both. And the reason why is because, number one, they're both really the same thing. And if you really break it down, right? If you talk to an off-market person, like, it's a yes game, right? So like with off-market, you just need 2 yeses, you're going to get paid. You're going to get the yes from the seller, the yes from the buyer, you're going to get paid. The only thing that's different or on the agent side is it's just an extra yes. But the reason I would say I think it's important to work both of them is because each knowledge that you get from both, it's like if you're playing on the court, it's easy for you to play a full court game because you know the plays on both. You know all the plays, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But also too, when I first came into this, it wasn't working the best for me, not because the information wasn't good. It was because of how I was taught. Because some people, honestly, out there, they're teaching wrong in the sense of they're like saying, like, you should only do cash deals and find these super ugly houses and never talk to real. So it's like, depending on how you were even taught, it might have stagnated like your growth. But I'm just saying, like, I think it's real good if you could, try to get to use both, because it really will help you on both sides. Because again, from when you're talking off market, if you talk to agents, you know how they talk and what they look for in that particular market. So if you're talking to an off market, seller in that market, now you're not just saying random things to them. You can literally tell them, hey, this is what the agents are saying over here. This is what they'll be doing. So if you work with me on an off market deal, these are the real benefits, and vice versa. Like, but I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to just put my, what I mean?
Hey, I would have to disagree when it comes to like on market and off market. Like pitches, in my opinion, I think is like way different. Like when it comes to off market, usually you got to work around their schedule. You can't call a seller at 1 p.m. like how you can call a realtor at 1 p.m. because the realtor, it's his job, it's his or her job. So when it comes to like, when it comes to talking to realtors, it's real easy for me. I don't know why, but when it comes to sellers, I fucking hate it. I don't know. It gets a whole different ball game when, in my opinion, when it comes to talking to sellers and realtors. Realtors is easy. That's why I can do it. But
that makes sense. But I think it's also too, it depends on, I think that also depends on how you're getting the off market lead. Like, are you just getting a list and skip tracing it? Are you putting in the money to use PPLs? Because You know, I know some of them PPLs, they're more expensive than others, but like, for example, like I speed the lead. I mean, I don't got, I just wanted to test it out, you know, or whatever. But even with that, it's like, for example, like when you call them, you're calling somebody who wants to sell their house. They filled out a form already and everything. Versus when you're getting an off market, you're just getting a list and you're calling them. I think it's harder the way you're saying it, because when you just get a list of a whole bunch of people and you call them, you're asking them if they want to do something. Like, so they may have had no intention, no anything, or you're dealing with the fact that a whole bunch of people who have already called them before you, so they might be like just annoyed about the whole thing anyway. That's why at least I try and be like humor, like try and put some humor in, like, or I'll try and just say like, hey, like you got a ton of calls, like let's make me be the last one. And you know what I mean? Just little stuff.
Yeah. Even when I get leads in from like my VA, it's just like, I don't know. I hate talking to sellers. I don't know. Not hate, but I would much prefer to talk to realtors all day than a seller who has, you know, the baby crying in the background, or they'll be cooking dinner while trying to, you know, discuss selling the house. I don't know. It's just,
nah, for sure.
So I will say this. By the way, I thoroughly enjoy watching. Is this what it sounds like when I talk? Because watching y'all talk, that was cool. Here, I'll say this. I think that everyone should be cross-trained, and I think everyone should have a niche. I think everyone should, if you want to be a good wholesaler, you should know how to do cash. You should know how to do creative. You should know how to do novations and everything in between. But you should only focus on whichever one you like. Like Darren, you don't like the emotion behind it, I think. After all the times that I've talked to you, you're not a very sensitive person at all. You're just not. So me personally, as good as I am talking to realtors, I prefer to talk to sellers because I'm sensitive. So when I can connect with someone on that kind of level, oh, they're going to do whatever I tell them to do. And here's the thing. And for anyone else who's like, oh, damn, that sounds fucked up. I actually care about these people, like a lot. I'll take a hit on my assignment fee to get to help them all day long, every day. I have, and I will. So I don't want it to sound like I'm manipulative, but because I'm very sensitive, like when you said you want to put jokes in, I love that. Let's make this call your last call. I love that. That's fantastic, because you can't really do that with a real estate agent, because a real estate agent is all about business. I'm not here for jokes. Right now I'm working. What you got for me? And while I can play in that arena, I prefer to talk to the people who'd be like, Sean, I don't know why the hell I just told you that very personal thing about me, because you're comfortable with me and you can be. So let's get you taken care of. Let's get first things first. Let's get this house off your plate. Okay.
My joke for one, if I'm dealing with a realtor, if it's like 80 or 90 days, I'll be like, when I'm speaking to them, I'm like, what's going on? The property looks great. You got trolls in the basement. And that usually gets a quick laugh at them. And then it's like easy for me to like go, because you know what I mean?
Yeah. My go-to is bodies.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to a real estate agent, I'm like, hey, or a seller, like, I see the property, man. It's gorgeous. Why is it not selling? You got bodies in the basement? Is this like a Dex? Is this a Dexter thing? Is this a Dexter thing? Like, I'll do it. Like, I'll go for, because you can't see me.
Yeah.
It's that mascot syndrome. If you can't see me, I can act like a doofus. I don't care.
Anytime I even try to bust a joke with a realtor, I got hung up on. I tried that bodies thing. I definitely got hung up on. So
you told me that. You texted me that. You're like, that bodies thing didn't work for me.
Yeah, it didn't work at all. But I ain't gonna lie, I like it keeping it straight professional, and like we just get straight to the point. Like with sellers, you really got to build rapport, and I don't know. I guess I'm just not trying to do that. I like just talking numbers.
But as long as you know how to do it, that's all that matters, because you guys want to have as much ammo in your tool belt as possible. But yeah, pick a niche. Whatever you guys are more comfortable with, do that. That's why I don't have full-blown scripts anywhere. I don't want you guys to sound like me. You're just going to sound like a shitty version of me. Understand the point that I'm trying to get across, and then you're going to sound like a good version of you.
And Derek, by the way, bro, I think from what you just explained, I don't know if you ever heard of this guy called RJ Bates. He's on YouTube. He's one of them course guys, but he does lives showing people how to close, and he got a formula. It's called like the king closer or one. But basically, what it is like he shows people how to close in one call. But it's really only because of like his formula, which is very, very simple. And I think it would help you based on what I've heard, because what he does is when he calls them, he says, "Hey, I'm so and so. I heard you want to sell this property. Is that still the case?" They say, "Yeah." He's like, "Awesome." Then he asks them. He'll say, "Okay, what are you looking to get for it?" They'll give him a number, and then he'll ask them right after. He'll be like, "How'd you get that number?" And then either they're gonna tell him, or they'll probably stumble because, as you probably know now, a lot of people just be making up these numbers out of nowhere. So that kind of helps break the convo in too, because it's like, bro, you don't even know where that number came from. You just said it. That's cool. Then he starts asking them about the property, but basically he starts comping the property right there while they're telling him all the stuff. So by the end, he's like, "Well, I can do this number." And if they're far apart, he'll say, based on what you told me, the ARV is going to be this, that, and the third. He's like, if I can close you in 30 days, especially with my holding costs, this and that, like, what's the best number you could do for me? And he got game tapes. A lot of things too. I had to learn. I started watching other people's game tapes. Like, I'm watching people talk to agents for hours on end, or I'm watching people do stuff like that. But yeah, anyway, and when he does that, usually he'll get like a 10 to 20% like drop in price. So just if you want to just try that out, you should look him up, because I think that would fit your personality style based on what I've heard.
Yeah, I definitely, RJ Bates, he's a goat. But to be honest, like I tried comping and doing that while on the phone. I'm just like, my brain can't be two places at once, if I'm being honest. And I just so I prefer to do all that comp and junk on my own time while I'm watching YouTube. So and when I'm on the phone, like I'm mainly just trying to, you know what, Sean, like when it comes to talking to sellers on the phone, right? You're literally just repeating everything that your VA said, because it's kind of repetitive. You know what I mean?
Not me. If you guys, any of you that have ever heard my recorded closing calls, I'm on the phone for like 45 minutes to an hour.
Yeah, but like I mainly mean, like, aren't you just confirming the details
in the first 2 minutes? Yeah. And then after that, look, I'm on the phone with them 35, 45 minutes, an hour. And out of that time, I'm spending 15 minutes talking about the house. I'm spending the rest of that time talking about their pain points, trying to figure those out, trying to see what their true motivation is, trying to figure out. I'm trying to make an emotional connection on my end. I don't give a shit what they feel. I don't care what other people feel. It's about me. Once I've connected and I understand you, now I care about you. Once I care about you, we're going to make this happen. And because it's real, and this, I'm assuming, I don't know. I've never heard anybody critique me like a psychologist or anything like that. That would be crazy. But the only thing that I can attribute that to is they can hear it in my voice. They can hear, oh shit, this guy's like he's in this with me. Yeah, I'm right next to you. We're going to do this together. And I'm going to help you. It's no different than you guys. When I tell you guys I'm going to help you, have any of you, other than the new people, ever doubted me? No, because I'm going to help you. You already know. You can hear it in my voice. I'm just much better at doing that when I'm doing a closing call. Like, this version of me that you guys hear is nothing like the closing version of Sean. Completely different guy. Super sensitive, very empathetic, real emotional, not salesy at all. I'm more salesy to you guys than I ever am on the phone. To be honest, I don't like sales. That's not even what I do. I don't do sales. Someone says, "Oh, you're a salesman." No, I'm not. I'm an educator. I give people all the information they need to make their own decision. It's just the information that I give you makes you feel stupid for not doing what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
That's all it is. I don't do sales.
But you see how you just said they could tell the tone in your voice? I think sometimes, too, I'm coming across like, when I speak to an agent, I can explain the creative deal, and I can tell that, I don't know, I guess I know, I usually have to say it like, it's like, I can tell that they understand and make sense, but it kind of feels like they're stuck between, well, I told my seller this, and like I don't want to go back to them with like this type of offer. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like, because the way sometimes I'm talking to them, it's like it's too much of a tug of war. Like, you're telling me like, yeah, I understand what you're saying, it makes sense, and this might work for them, but they're like, no, I don't think I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna present, and I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Like, aren't you supposed to tell them like that you have an offer? Like, I don't understand why that happens.
Well, a lot of times that'll happen for two reasons. One, the real estate. Do you guys want to jump on Calvin's? Because I didn't realize what time it was, and you're not going to offend me if you do. There's your exit if you guys want to exit. Okay. So a lot of times a real estate agent will do that, but they've already had that conversation with the seller at the beginning. Like when they first listen, hey, you're going to get all these type of offers coming in. Are you interested in this type? Are you interested in creative financing? Subject. And if the seller says no, then even though the agent understands and they think this is a good deal, they serve the wishes of the seller. So they can't present it. That'd be like me saying, hey man, I'm making burgers. You want cheese? And you're like, no, I'm lactose intolerant. And I put cheese on your burger. Why would I do that? That's the same thing with a real estate agent.
Okay,
so
that makes sense.
Yeah, in that situation, what you need to do is say, hey, look, I completely understand that, but I do appreciate the fact that you understand what this offer is. So if any of your other clients or sellers are having a hard time moving their property, my investors are always open in these neighborhoods. Just let me know.
Yeah. For me, I asked them to do verbals, and I've been getting better traction with that because, I don't know, I find that they're getting tons of emails and stuff all day. So when I'm just like, hey, like, if you can just get a quick verbal, just confirmation or whatever, they're like, yeah, sure. But I guess that's because like they just do get a lot of traffic a day, right? So it's like I don't know. I think it comes off like you're not trying to bother them, but you're trying to still get something done. Because I've noticed like the more stuff I try and make them do, it's like the more annoyed they get.
Well, yeah, because think about it again. If you told me you were lactose intolerant, I'm like, come on, man, just try this piece of cheese. Are you going to be happy?
Yeah, word.
You're going to be pissed off. Man, I already told you. So then they're not eager to get yelled at, even if they do agree with the offer and think it's good.
Yeah, but I think overall, I said I had to get some stuff right in regular life, so I had to take a break. But I've been back on here for like 2 weeks, and I really like dove in. And I just remember, like I said, like the other day, like I remember them hanging up the phone on me, or they could tell, like I didn't know what I was saying. But I don't know if there's new people in here, but I would say this too. Like, I think my biggest problem early on was, obviously I wanted to make some money, and I still haven't closed the deal yet, but I will, because I'm going to be persistent. But nonetheless, I would say I think a lot of new people, they get caught up on the aspect of, they're trying to learn just to use it like fast, but they're not trying to use it. They're not trying, like, you got to learn so you could be like knowledgeable. Because once they know that you know what you're talking about, I know, at least for me, I know that's why they're not hanging up on me no more. Because they're like, I can tell this guy knows what he's saying, so I'm gonna listen to what he's saying. Versus, you know what I mean? I think that's just like the biggest key. Like, because you hear a lot. They'll say, learn and take action, which is true, but it's like, I don't think you should just be taking action just to be moving, because then it's like you're just running in place,
Absolutely. No, you gotta, I'll tell you, and I tell this to people a lot, and again, we're not trying to talk about me, but I don't get asked for a proof of funds when I'm talking to a real estate agent. They don't ask me for that. When I talk about my investors, and they don't say, oh, you're a wholesaler, they don't do that to me, because I sound like I know what I'm talking about, because I know what I'm talking about. And I don't have to try to sound like I know what I'm talking about, because I know what I'm talking about. So it just comes off, just like the empathy when I talk to sellers versus real estate agents. You can just feel it. Just like you can feel if someone's not listening, if someone's not paying attention, if someone's not interested. You don't have to be looking at them. You can hear it over the phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, once you've got the confidence in your voice and you're backing it up with facts and numbers and how things work and knowledge and all this, yeah, people start treating you a whole lot differently. and doors start opening up that used to just get slammed in your face before you can get a word out.
Yeah, because even
now you look different.
Yeah, because even now sometimes, like within like the last 2 to 3 days, that's picked up more as well. Where they're like, "Well, what you're saying is not going to work here, but I don't know if it might work. But I have this other listing, and you could check it out." So I'm like, man, now they're even telling me to look at other stuff. This is cool. Like,
yep.
I'm like, yeah, man, this is good.
It's a great place to be.
But even again too, it's like I think it's because I shifted my mindset to be like, again, obviously I want to make money, but now it's more so like, wait, but bro, don't be dumb. Like, yeah, you gotta become like friends with them, because that is the money. Like, if you're friends with them, they're going to bring you stuff. Like, I know you said it tons and tons of times, but it took a while for that to like really like sink in and make sense to me. Like, I'm like, yeah, bro, like you have to do that. Like,
yeah, I tell people all the time, a dangerous combination is a good wholesaler and a good real estate agent working together. That's printing money. That's guaranteed to print money.
Mm-hmm. Because they'll probably bring you like at least like 1 or 2 deals like every 2 months or something, I would imagine.
More than that. Yeah. If it's a good real estate agent, more than that.
Yeah, man. Well, I guess I just got to keep working on seeing. So just to go back to the sub 2 stuff. So just with the gap, like if it's like 100,000 or more, that's always going to be a hybrid. So as long as they got like,
unless it's $1 million purchase price, because then 10% would be 100,000. But yes, your thinking is right.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna hop off, man. But thanks for all the information today. When's another live going to be?
Tomorrow at 3:30 Central.
Okay. All right. See y'all then, man.
All right, man. Have a good night. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yo, Sean.
What's up, dude?
What's a HOA resale certificate? What is that?
Say that again.
I said, what's a HOA resale certificate? It's just verifying the HOA or something?
Yeah, so an HOA resale certificate. Now, some HOAs, they name it different things, or they'll name this a different thing. But most of the time, what that means is when you sell your property. So if you're in an HOA, like if I lived in an HOA right now and I wanted to sell my house to you, I would have to fill out this thing, and we would all have to sign it saying that I gave you the rules and the regulations for the HOA. You're not going to change anything about the house that's going to violate the HOA rules. You're going to keep up with the HOA bullshit. And they're basically certifying that we had this discussion and that you are going to agree to uphold to the HOA shit. That's what it is.
Okay. And how long does that take to like get in or something? Because it's been like a week.
It shouldn't take that long. That should be what stage are you at? What was the last thing you did with it?
So we got in the what's that junk called? The appraisal came back. Yeah. So the appraisal came back, and then now I was like, okay, now what do we? Is everything good? He was like, no, we're waiting on the HOA resale certificate. And that was on Monday of last week. And I ain't texted him since. Actually, no, he texted me. He was like, once we lock this up, I want to focus on more residential and multifamily. Let me know if you can find something else. But that was the last thing I heard from him. And it is Monday now.
What city or what state?
Texas.
Oh, wait, what city then?
San Antonio.
Oh, yeah. That's major metro. They probably got a lot over there. I would say if you don't have it by the end of the day tomorrow, then you need to call. You need to call them and be like, "Hey, what's the holdup?" Because that's a week is not unheard of in an area that big, but more than that, yeah, I would just it can't hurt. I mean, they're not gonna be pissed at you. You're just following up. But yeah, you're safe to do that.
Yeah, I just want my money, and also I'm about to give this dude like a great deal tomorrow, and I'm talking about he gonna be cash flowing like $1,000 a month. He gonna love me for this. So, but I don't want to give it to him until I get my money. If that makes sense, I want to close.
Yeah, no, you shouldn't. You need to close your deal first. Make sure you secure your fiduciary interest in everything that's going on, because that's your livelihood. Good for you, dude. God, man, I remember when I talked to you months ago the first time. You're like, I'm still in high school. Like, I've never done it before.
I'm an old man now. Like, I'm graduated. Like, just my back been hurting every time I've been waking up.
Shut the fuck up, dude. Back been hurting. My back doesn't even hurt when I wake up. No, you know what, dude? You and is she still on here? She's not. But Amber, you guys are one of the two from like earlier in Deal Sniper that I have seen grow the most. You're on damn near every training, whether you need to be or not. You're asking all the right questions. You're taking the advice. You're taking the initiative. I'm proud of all you guys, but you're actually killing it.
Appreciate it.
Just don't stop. Don't make me look bad. I'm trying to add you to my generation 3 graduates here. Don't make me look bad.
To graduate again.
Hell yeah. What's the assignment fee on this one that you're talking about?
4,000.
Huh?
4,000.
That's what's up.
But it's technically using Deal Sniper. It's just a Morby method, but I did have to use Deal Sniper, so
that's what's up. That is what's up. All right. Does anybody have any other questions before I let you guys go? Because Calvin's is starting in 4 minutes.
One more question. I'm sorry.
What's up?
Would this also be used for like? Do you also use Deal Sniper for like cash offers, or is it just for like creative deal offers and long-term offers?
That's for creative only. If you're talking about Deal Sniper, if you're talking about Deal Machine, the calculator, this one here, yeah, you can use it to calculate cash deals as well.
Oh, okay.
Just make sure you use the right box. Because
also, just like do you have to like do it at a right time? Because I heard like there's like a right time to like wholesale and like look for offers and send offers. Is that like a thing, or is that like a myth?
With realtors?
Realtors and sellers alike.
I mean, not really. No, if you're talking about sending emails are 24 hours a day, and most people don't have push notifications on their emails. So you can email them at midnight. It's not like it's going to make their phone ring like a text message.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So yeah, send it. Now, if we're talking about phone calls and text messages, then yeah, you want to be respectful. But if we're talking strictly email, yeah, do your thing. It's 24 hours a day if you want.
All right. Thank you.
No problem. Anybody else have any questions? All right. With that being said, Tiffany, was that you that was asking me about a video that I was uploading? I told you it was corrupted.
Yeah, I went and seen it, but
it's on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I seen it, but the thing of it is the deal didn't go through. So I'm just like,
damn.
All right. Sorry.
I got it up there. So if you need it next time, I fixed it. But with that being said, this recording will be up tomorrow at 8 a.m. Central Time if you need to rewatch it. Other than that, you guys have a fantastic night, and I'll talk to you later. See ya.